It is always game day in Cleveland. It is the post-game edition. Here we go as the Browns fall to the Seattle Seahawks in another, just a heartbreaker. But when you look back at all the last couple of games, they've all kind of come down to this. 24-20 is the final. Daryl is still in Seattle as we do this post-game podcast. So, Daryl, just give me your initial reaction right away on this.
Yeah, it's hard not to feel, Andy, like this was a missed opportunity for the Browns. It was right there for the taking. They had a 3rd and 3 situation. If they pick up the first down, they're probably able to just, salt the game away, bleed the clock off. And they're flying home 20-17 winners and 5-2. But unfortunately, an unlucky bounce. They've had a couple of lucky breaks go their way. The previous couple of weeks, of course, San Francisco, the field goal is blown wide right. In Indianapolis, they get a couple of late penalties that put them in position to go ahead and win that football game in the closing seconds. But unfortunately, out here in Seattle, Andy, the slow start killed them. Turnovers killed them. And it just, it's hard not to feel like this was a gigantic missed opportunity for this football team.
And we want to remind you today's podcast is brought to you by our good friends at Smiley One and Bryant, Northeast Ohio's heating and cooling experts. Daryl, what was the mood in the locker room? And then we'll get into what the storylines will be for the next week. But the mood in the locker room after losing this game, Jackson Smith-Njigba scores the game-winning touchdown. The guy had 1,700 yards receiving at Ohio State, and for all the games that he played for the Buckeyes, all those fans in Ohio that rooted for him today, it was just a punch in the gut.
Yeah, obviously it was a tough locker room. The disappointment obviously palpable. Look, I think that we have to give some credit where it's due in the sense of, PJ Walker, I think played as well as you could expect him to play in the situation that he was in. And I realize I say that knowing that he committed 3 turnovers, but he did play well enough to win the game. Again, you just don't see a football bouncing off a guy's helmet, flying 20 yards in the air, just like hanging up there for what felt like an eternity. The defense, the mood from the defensive side of the football, talking to guys over there, Myles Garrett stressed, hey, yeah, because I asked him, and he said, yeah, this is a missed opportunity. We had a chance, regardless of what happened offensively, Andy, we had a chance to get off the field, and we weren't able to do that at the end of the game. A couple other players to talk to, those are situations that they live for, game in their hands. And just right away, Seattle socked them with a big play to get themselves into field goal range. And then the only question was, okay, are we going to overtime, and playing 10 more minutes or so here? Or, are we going to get this thing decided and the Browns are going to go home a very unhappy football team? And unfortunately, the latter happened. They go home an unhappy football team. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough locker room to be in after a loss like that. But there are some things that you can kind of really feel good about. Obviously, a tremendous amount of questions surrounding that 3rd and 3 play call from Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, I think clearly that's the big talk on post-game radio right now, as I was just kind of listening before I sat down and turned my computer on. Everyone is on him for the 3rd and 3, and why would you pass in that situation? And it was interesting to hear it. Like, I haven't heard one fan kind of come back and go, if they hit the slant, game's over, you win the game. So it's hard because I thought Kevin called a decent game, especially with all the screen passes. And right. I thought he got the workhorse out of the running game that I think he needed to. They gave them the yards that they needed to. But again, you're talking about, and I know that everyone feels bad. You might feel bad, at least for PJ Walker, but he's a guy that came off the practice squad to be your starting quarterback. Right. And you're less than 2 minutes away from pulling off a 3rd straight late game victory. And so I think there's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of feeling going into this thing. And I know the fans are going after Kevin on this one. You know it as well as I know it.
Well, look, I think Kevin called a great game, and I thought his game plan was stellar. They really worked hard this week on their screen game, and they used the screen game tremendously. I really enjoyed the creativity in the play call. I understand the criticism about, okay, why on earth would you throw the football in that situation? The running back seemed to be doing a a pretty decent job. They're having a decent day at the office. Kareem Hunt's averaging around 4 yards to carry. Pierre Strong averaging around 4 yards to carry. Why not turn and give the ball to them? I spoke to both Kareem Hunt and Pierre Strong in the locker room. Both were, chose their words carefully. Not second guessing the coach. A couple offensive players also. Hey, it's our job to execute what's called. And to your point, if they hit the slant, they run the game out, right? But they took that timeout with 2:04 on the clock, so the clock was stopping no matter what at the end of that play. Okay,
right.
The shame of it is that unfortunately they weren't able to maintain possession and just punt the football and put it in the hands of the defense deeper down the field, as opposed to where Seattle was able to take that drive over. And that, I think, is the tough pill to swallow after this game. And Stefanski admitted, hey, thought about all scenarios, but really felt that he had the right play dialed up. And again, to your point, if they hit that slant, nobody's bitching and moaning about the outcome in this game, right?
Right.
But I think Kevin Stefanski called a really good football game. But that 3rd and 3 with 2:04 on the clock coming out of the timeout, that is a second guesser's paradise right now.
Yeah, it's true. I thought it was also interesting. Myles Garrett after the game was asked, "Hey, do you wish you could get that play back?" He goes, "Well, I mean, what are you supposed to do, coach? We trust the coach, and the coach is going to call what he needs to call. And it's just it is what it is. You can't." Yeah, I thought it was really interesting that Myles completely had Kevin's back in that post-game press conference. I mean, you were standing there. You tell me.
No, I agree with you, and I'm not surprised by that. And look, there's an opportunity for the defense to get a stop. They didn't get the stop. That's what it comes down to early in the game, right? Opportunities to get a couple of stops. They don't. And that was kind of the easy to say after. Okay, it was they get the 17 points on the board and 17-7 there, and then what did the Browns do? I think it was like the next 7 possessions or whatever were like 3 and outs or turnovers for the Seattle Seahawks, or punts, I should say. And turnovers. I mean, the Browns really took control of the meat of that game. They dominated, and yardage, first downs, time of possession was a landslide.
Unbelievable,
in the Browns' favor for most of the game. And it's just unfortunate that in the final 2 minutes, the defense. Was it the greatest situation they were put in? No, but there was an opportunity to shut the Seahawks down in the same manner they shut them down for the previous 2.5 quarters, and they didn't get it done. So it really is a missed opportunity, and I don't know that you can just pin it on one specific play. Again, turnovers. They lose the turnover battle once again. So
Well, Daryl, let's. I want to turn the page because
I think that they're. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying Tuesday is going to be the day because, the Browns are sitting here trying to figure out should they make a move or not, and can they make this team better at the trade deadline? Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, Sunday was not a good day for we want Andrew Berry to trade for a veteran quarterback because the injuries, I think, just totally torpedoed that. Completely torpedoed that. And so I think that takes that scenario off the board. I think that they're stuck going with PJ Walker. At 4-3, it's hard not to say that there's a need. I just don't know, Andy, that a need fixes whatever problems there are. Like, is there a trade that's going to stop them from turning the ball over at the rate that they're turning it over, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I don't envy being in Andrew Berry's shoes right now. He is in a very, very tough spot as he tries to calculate the market of what's available versus what it's going to cost and what he's ultimately able to get on the trade market. He's in a very, very tough spot. And again, starting with Kirk Cousins, looks like he has ruptured his Achilles, and his season is done. A couple other guys went down. Kenny Pickett goes down with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mitch Trubisky comes on. Steelers lost on Sunday. Tyrod Taylor got hurt. I mean, it was not a good day. Or if you're on the, hey, Andrew Berry, go get us a veteran quarterback so that PJ Walker doesn't have to, go out there. But I'm going to give PJ Walker his flowers. I thought he played hard. I think that you got 150% from that guy on Sunday. And it's difficult that he had the 3 turnovers, the interception, the strip sack, and then obviously the bad luck interception at the very end. You feel for that guy because, and I realize you can't pull Butch Davis here and be like, well, hey, those 3 turnovers away and, whatever, everything else was, sunshine and rainbows, but threw for almost 250 yards and, got it, was able to get a touchdown to David Njoku as well. So this is just the theme out of that locker room, I think, is just this is a very, very tough pill for this football team to swallow as they, make their way back to Cleveland.
All right. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin for our illustrious producer and outstanding producer, Meredith Kane. Thank you very much. This has been the post-game edition of It's Always Game Day in Cleveland, and we'll be back with the regular edition tomorrow. Again, the Browns fall to Seattle 24-20.